Our sound recorder isn't working, so you might not be able to hear us very well.
Indeed.
It's a bit windy as well.
And I'm coughing. Luckily, it's not too loud out here other than the sound of a motorway about a half mile that way.
And our engine about 56 feet that way.
Yeah.
So we are in Melling by the Swing Bridge number 10 where we moored last night. And today we're doing the Liverpool link. We have to meet someone who's going to hopefully make us authorised seaworthy so we can do the Manchester Ship Canal.
Yeah, so he's supposed to arrive about an hour before we're supposed to go down the Liverpool link. Although the Liverpool link runs for several hours, so if we're a little delayed, it's not a big deal.
It's just not ideal. Like in an ideal situation, we'd have had this certificate last week, but things don't always go to plan, so it's a little bit last minute.
Yeah, but it's basically just a formality at this point. There's no question of any of the stuff we have being a problem. So we should be good to go.
Yeah, so I think we're about 5 or 6 miles from the link, or 7 or 8, I can't remember.
About nine.
And there's one service point that we're going to go to just to get rid of our rubbish and empty our liquids, and apparently there's Tesco's there, and the surveyor has requested tea. We don't have milk, so I have to run and get some milk. I'm going to walk for a bit. There's a swing bridge about a mile away.
Yeah, about a mile and a quarter there's a swing bridge, then there's another swing bridge about 2 miles after that, and then that's it for swing bridges, if I've read the map correctly, which historically we know I don't.
Alright, let's just get going.
Yeah.
It's time to go. Michael unties the boat while George supervises. You need to book passage through the Liverpool link in advance, and when travelling into Liverpool it's open between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. That leaves us about 4 hours to get to the top lock, which should be plenty of time. It's a great cruise to the first swing bridge of the day. So we've got to the first swing bridge and it doesn't work. It's got no power to it. You put the key in and turn it, the lights don't come on. So, not a good start. We've been going about half an hour. We call the CRT to let them know we're stuck. After about a half-hour wait, they turn up. They can't get it to work either, but they have some kind of manual override which they use to swing the bridge for us. It's very slow, which means the poor drivers waiting on the road have a bit of a delay. We're pretty impressed with the efficient response from the Canal and River Trust, and we're soon on our way. We're now on the outskirts of Liverpool, and it's definitely feeling more urban. We pass Aintree Racecourse, not that you can see any of it through the thick vegetation to the left. This is Netherton Swing Bridge, and after the hassle at the last bridge, this one doesn't appear to be working either. Michael pulls the boat over to come and take a look. He manages to reboot it, and the error message disappears. It's an electronic bridge, but it has manual gates, so once you've turned the key and the lights come on, you have to physically shut them yourself. Once through the bridge, Michael picks me up again, and we carry on towards Liverpool. It's pretty peaceful here. Rimrose Valley Country Park is on the right, and it's endless back gardens and houses on the left of the canal. George has towpath dog envy once again, and he finds one of the fenders comes in very handy to give him a better view. The third swing bridge of the day, and the third one I have problems with, this time because I've left my keys on the boat. Michael ducks inside and throws them out to me. Then I realise I didn't need them after all, as this one's secured by an anti-vandal key, which I've had in my pocket all along. Don't tell him, will you? There's a boat getting washed on the service point, so we pull up next to the railings and Michael uses the Elsan and takes the opportunity to clear the prop while I run into Tesco's for the milk. The further we go, the more signs of city life we see. This is the only boat we meet on the move all day. I wonder if it's come up from the docks this morning. I love passing these old covered wharves and wondering what stories they have to tell. We're nearly at the top of the Stanley Flight now. There's lots of moorings here if you don't want such a long cruise before doing the link. We arrive at the top lock about half an hour before the flight opens, just enough time for a bite to eat, and there's a little patch of grass which we can use to throw the ball for George. The friendly lockkeeper arrives bang on time and we find out that we're the only boat doing the link today. These locks are actually self-service, but he kindly helps us all the way through. The impressive Stanley Viaduct takes the railway directly over the third lock. Then at the bottom lock he gives us directions through the docks. We pay close attention as the map makes the route look quite complicated. This rather nice brick tunnel takes us under the road and into Stanley Dock. On the left is the huge tobacco warehouse. In fact, it's the largest brick warehouse in the world. It extends along the whole of the south front of the dock and is 11 stories high. It's currently being converted into luxury apartments. Such an impressive building, and it's great it's finally getting some love. On the right is the rather posh Titanic Hotel. There are some signs stating that there are moorings available, and there are lots of empty pontoons. It does strike us that the area is somewhat lacking in boats. Under the bridge and through to Collingwood Dock. And then we continue into Salisbury Dock. The instructions from the lockkeeper were to turn left at the Victoria Tower, or the six-sided Docker's Clock as it's sometimes called. We pass into Trafalgar Dock, named for the Battle of Trafalgar. During the 90s, this dock was filled in and used as a landfill site and was not navigable. The canal that we're using to pass through the dock was cleared in 2007 to form the Liverpool link, connecting the Leeds and Liverpool Canal with the centre of Liverpool and the River Mersey. The passage has the nickname Sid's Ditch, after one of the many volunteers that help with the work. I love seeing these old mooring bollards. It helps bring to life the reason the docks were created in the first place, and makes you wonder how big the ships must have been. Trafalgar Dock must have been huge. Here our instructions are to keep left of the buoys. Next we move into Waterloo Dock, which was also named after a famous battle. The closer we get to the centre of Liverpool, the more development has taken place. In Prince's Dock, the instructions are to keep right of the buoys. The directions may seem complicated, but for the most part, there really is only one way to go. It's a fascinating trip through the docks. There's almost too much to see and take in. At the south end of Prince's Dock, we come to Prince's Lock. It's taken about 20 minutes to get here from the bottom of the Stanley Flight, and the lockkeeper arrives at the same time as we do. We're now back on the Link Canal and we pass through the first of 3 tunnels. A little bit of fresh air and a view of the Royal Liver building. Then it's back underground into Tunnel 2 and under a little park with a monument to Edward VII. Then underground once more and under the Museum of Liverpool. When we emerge, we meet the lockkeeper at Man Island Lock, Man Island being a virtual island surrounded by docks. It's a very small drop into Canning Dock and we pass the time spotting jellies in the water. From Canning Dock we loop round into Canning Half Tide Dock. Ahead was once an exit onto the River Mersey, I presume at half tide. We then travel into the famous Royal Albert Dock and it's rather grand. It's very busy with people, but sadly there are not really that many boats here either. And then we loop back round into Salthouse Dock where all the Canal and River Trust moorings are. There are nearly 50 bookable visitor moorings here, but only a handful of boats are visiting at the moment. We find our assigned berth and spin round in the wind to moor. Look where we are!
We are in Liverpool, or Liverpool, possibly.
What's that iconic building over there called?
The Liver Building. Made of liver. Little known fact.
I was mean, I laughed when he said that.
Look, I was reading it for the first time. I mean, because we don't say Liverpool, right? So why would you expect that the Liver Building would be in Liverpool, right? You'd expect that the Liver Building would be in Liverpool.
Anyway, we're here. We made it. The link was fine. We didn't meet the surveyor. That didn't go to plan. We had issues at every swing bridge. We had stuff on the prop. It's been a long day.
The first swing bridge we came up to, bridge number 9, actually has posted hours because it's on a busy major road.
But there's no signs by the lock.
No, the signs are posted everywhere else.
But not by the bridge even.
No. But when you get to the Liverpool link, there's a sign facing you saying, hey, you know that bridge you arrived at like 6 miles ago? It's closed until 9:30 in the morning. Anyway, we got there just past the point at which it was supposed to open, and it was no open. There was no electrical power, it no function. So we had Joe had to make a phone call to the Canal and River Trust.
They came out pretty quick. They were
did.
there.
They arrived within about 30 minutes.
Yeah, and we were through within about 40. They opened it. They did some kind of override thing.
Yeah.
And it opened so slowly.
Yeah, so slowly. And as I passed under it, I pointed out there's like an electrical line there that was drooping like very near the bridge.
Oh, really?
He was like, maybe that's got something to do with it. So.
And then the next one. It
had like some emergency.
Yeah, like said, like it's been like the disable had been tripped or something, so someone had come along and just pressed the button. Like, it's got this shutter that comes down, but the shutter's not locked, so anyone can just open it.
Yeah.
And then it said you could reboot it, but I couldn't work out how to reboot it. But then Michael came off the boat and read it and said, just press start or something. And that
just press the any button.
And that rebooted it. But then
Have you turned it off recently?
Switch it off and on again.
Yeah.
Then I couldn't work out how to do the barriers, because they're manual barriers. So I tried to do them, but then that sent all sorts of alarms going. I was supposed to press a button before I did it. And so that one took ages. Then you got something around the prop. Then at the next bridge, I didn't have my keys, because I thought somebody this morning said there was 2 bridges, so I must have just taken my...
We got through that swing bridge. I got something off the prop that had wrapped around the prop. Somebody lost some seriously long boot shoelaces. Well, they were around the prop. Not anymore, but they were.
And then we heard from the surveyor, who said he couldn't meet us at the top of the locks as planned, because whatever he was doing had been extended or changed.
Yeah, so he's coming down in the next half hour.
So he's going to meet us here. And then we had a little wait at the top of the locks, and then the guy turned up bang on 2 o'clock and saw us through.
Yep.
He was really lovely, really helpful.
Ran us through the first 4 locks with no trouble. Well, we went past the old tobacco
it's massive
warehouse, which is just, it's like, that's got to be as large as you can build a brick building.
Yeah. And it's kind of intimidating, because you're going through all these docks and passages and you think, will I know the way? And because of all the buildings, like, there's a few wind tunnels, but it's actually dead easy to do.
It is, yeah. I mean, you get into the actual, you go through 4 locks, then you go through a couple of channels, you go through Sid's Ditch, you get to the second 2 locks, you go through the first of those 2 locks, and then there's 3 tunnels, and it's all basically just a straightaway.
Just follow the line.
You can't really go anywhere.
And like, even when you go into Albert Dock, you go in one entrance and you come out.
Yeah, and
like,
essentially there's
nowhere else to go.
There's a pathway through 4 big basins, and there is no other pathway, so you're gonna figure it out. But it's, there's all these tourists looking at you, pointing down.
It was really quiet until we got to
basically the museum.
Yeah.
So it's Liverpool. It's very interesting. You
got 3 days here before hopefully going on the Mersey,
which
weather
is not
dependent.
nearly enough days.
No.
But it's pretty much
out.
forced by the fact that if we go much later, we won't be able to go up the ship canal.
Like, we got here as quickly as we could, coming off the Ribble Link. Like, I don't think we could have got here a day earlier, actually. We'd have been exhausted.
Yeah. But we've got a couple of days. We're going to have to check out a few things. There's the Tate. Behind that building there is the Tate Museum. There's the Maritime Museum, something called Seized, which is apparently about people who were press ganged into service of some sort. All interesting and all worth a visit, and we probably won't get to see it all, but we'll see quite a bit of it over the next 2 days.
Yeah, so we came in through that bridge over there, and we're going out that bridge over there. We're going out through that bridge over there, fingers crossed, if we have the weather.
Yeah. About 10 minutes down that way is the Brunswick Lock,
The Sea Lock.
Is the Sea Lock. It's controlled actually by the Liverpool Marina. So if everything goes well today and we get the certificate, and everything goes well with the weather, and everything goes well with about 20 other things, we call them, we get permission to go out through that dock, and we're out onto the Mersey. If it doesn't all go well, in a few days we reverse up and do the whole thing backwards.
And then we have the long way to Manchester, so fingers crossed for us.
Yes, and knock on steel. Be first. Well, manually. I mean, they use some sort of control device.
Ugh.
Oh, there's a phone call coming in. And try that again. Take 2.
Look where we are.
We're in Liverpool.
These locks are actually